anyways, thank you for jumping in with me.
Sure, bro. No, it's
First
a
one.
absolute privilege, bro, to be on this with you, and glasses on.
You can take them off. We'll keep them on if you want.
Um, no, yeah, it's absolute privilege, bro, that you've asked me to come along to this and um be a part of this. I guess first episode.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool, man, and I'm pretty excited to see where it'll take you and what kind of following you get and how many
yeah,
people you how much hope you bring to people's lives, bro. So
yeah.
I'm excited for you, man.
At the end of the day, that's all I want to do is just. I was just thinking, who's someone with a story that that'll inspire other people and give other people hope.
Mm,
I was like, but Dion's got one of the best stories I've ever heard.
something happened.
Something happened, yeah. But yeah, do
Yeah,
you
bro.
wanna? Where'd your story start?
Um, So originally, I'm from Whakatane.
Hmm.
Didn't grow up in Auckland. Pretty much hated Auckland, to be honest. But yeah, grew up in Whakatane with my mum and my nana.
Yeah,
Um, and my dad, he wasn't around. He was working overseas and stuff. And then yeah, him and mum just ended up breaking up.
yeah,
And he moved to Papua New Guinea and found a wife and had another family and stuff. Um, and then I was just with mum and nan in Whakatane. It was beautiful, bro. It was absolutely stunning place. Whakatane is amazing.
yeah.
Like surrounded by family. Kind of grew up on the marae, or more just like took days off school to go to the marae for funerals, but like
Mm.
didn't really like immerse myself in the marae.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, just grew up around family. Played a bit of sports, bit of cricket and volleyball when I was younger at school.
yeah.
Um, I didn't really like school, to be honest. Like PE and lunch were probably my
Your
favorite.
favorite?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Usually like cricket, eh?
yeah, love cricket, bro. Still love it. I wish I could still play,
Yeah,
but yeah, it honestly takes up so much time on a Saturday, and then Sunday I'm ruined. So,
yeah.
so there's no way I'll be playing 50, 50 over cricket anymore. But I'd love to coach, bro. Love to coach one day.
Really? Hmm.
Yeah,
Like,
bro.
would you do maybe like a kids like school coaching team?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'd love to coach kids, or yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That'll be mean, bro. I'd love to be a part of that.
yeah. Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and I
And you
don't
got
know what that looks like. I don't know when, but
yeah, and you got that kind of personality that kids would like you anyway.
they better.
Yeah. And and then you go into your teenage years and
Yeah. So teenage years were a bit rebellious for me, to be honest.
hmm,
A lot of my mates at school. Oh, I just, I just gravitated to the wrong people, I guess.
yeah,
And when I was at school, I tried so hard to fit in everywhere, but I'm massive. Like,
yeah.
look at
Six
me.
foot
I'm
seven?
6'7", bro. Um, and I was always tall in high school, so I was trying to fit in everywhere, but
Yeah,
I was just never designed to fit in because I always stood out.
yeah,
And so I was quite disruptive at school, and I used to hang out with this group of dudes who smoked a lot of weed and stuff.
hmm,
And man, they were cool, in my eyes they were cool, bro. They were having parties, they had all the
yeah.
drugs, alcohol, all these girls would like hang around them and stuff, and everyone would talk about them, and I was just
Yeah.
like, shucks, these dudes are like,
The cool
they're the
guys.
gears,
Yeah,
like they're cool, bro. So I started hanging out with them, smoked a bit of weed with them, partied, drank, girls, all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Um, and at the time it was real cool. Like I actually really enjoyed it.
yeah,
Um, but I was just like, yeah, my mum and nan didn't agree or like what I was doing, but it didn't really matter. I just did it anyway.
yeah,
It was quite rebellious, bro. So yeah, that kind of escalated um, throughout high school. I had a girlfriend and stuff in high school, so we would kind of do that stuff together. We'd drink together and go to parties and
yeah.
stuff. And I think we were together for about 6 years. Um,
Uh,
and again, bro, it was real fun, real cool, but it was really toxic at the same time.
mm,
We were just young, bro, didn't know what we were doing, trying to figure it out. but that progressively got worse and worse. My I guess drinking and
Yeah.
um became like a weekly thing, and then I moved. I wanted to leave high school at 17, and my nana said that I had to get a trade.
Ah, okay, yeah.
So for me to leave school, I have to go and get a trade,
Yeah.
and she just didn't want me to become a bum. So I I left high school 17, didn't go back for year 13,
Yeah.
and I went to Hamilton and did an electrical apprenticeship. But I was 17, bro, from this little as like
Yeah.
town.
Did you move to Hamilton?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I was 17 at the time, moved to this little as town, from a little as town to Hamilton, like
Yeah.
this university city. And there's clubs and parties like almost
Yeah,
every
it's
night,
a
bro. And I was just like, I was in heaven, eh? Like the me and the and I was 17, bro. So I wasn't around my mum and my nan, so I was just like
yeah.
let loose on this town. And man, we just like, yeah, we just partied Thursday to Sunday. We were in town at clubs,
Yeah.
and then Monday to Monday to Wednesday we were like drinking at home at the flat and stuff. So it was intense, bro. But
Yeah.
I don't know, it was just all I knew, and it was kind of fun at the time.
Yeah.
Um, and then my mate started dealing ecstasy, so we kind of had ecstasy on tap. Like he just had a whole stack of it, and we'd just use it all the time, bleeding noses and like
Yeah.
cracking up at each other, and like there was just a competition to see who could, I guess, use the most.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, as I got older, bro, I ended up um, graduating that apprenticeship. But it took me an extra 2 years because I was too busy like partying and drinking and drugging that I didn't focus on my studies.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So every time we did our exams, I failed them. I failed them like 3 times. And then I kind of just gave up, and I was just like, this. I'll still work in the field because I'm getting paid like a normal electrician, but I'm not qualified.
Yeah.
And I was like that for about 2 years, and then my nana forced me to sit them again.
Properly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and at this stage, I was kind of over like failing.
Yeah, and being the apprentice every time and
Yeah,
yeah.
so I actually applied myself and tried and passed. Who would have thought? So yeah, past that, bro. Moved back home. And then when I moved back home, some of the guys I was hanging out with, they were using methamphetamine,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's the one drug I would never touch. You know, like I would
Oh,
never touch it.
yeah.
I'd seen what it done to people. Like that's nothing. I wouldn't go near it.
Yeah.
And I held on to that for about maybe 6 months. I
Yeah.
was still hanging around these people, like they were using on a
Yeah.
weekly basis and stuff. And yeah, I remember, bro. I was just like so staunch. I was just like, I'm not doing this. I'll drink with them and I'll
Yeah.
party with them, but I'm not gonna go in this secret room
Yeah. And
where all of that was happening. And then, bro, and they were cool, bro. They knew that I'd never wanted to do it. They
yeah.
were on board. They never put it in front of me. And then one day I was just real drunk, and I just went,
Yeah.
I want to go in that room.
Why
And
not?
they were all like, nah, bro, like this isn't for you. Like
Yeah.
this, like this world isn't where you're going.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, 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 I'm going, bro. Like,
Mm.
I want a piece. Like, and I went in, yeah, had one puff on the pipe, and bro, that was pretty much it. Like, it was it was such a surreal feeling and experience. Because I was quite I wasn't the most confident person. I was always quite shy.
Mm.
I was always quite uh,
That's what happens though when you're the big talker at school, eh?
yeah.
You
Every
stand out so
everyone
much you
sees
wanna
you. You just want to hide away, bro.
yeah.
So like with that mentality, um, having a puff on that for the first time, shucks, I was super confident, bro. I was like, felt like the man. I felt like I knew heaps of stuff.
Yeah.
Like it was just this whole different persona and person, and I was just like, this is what I've been looking for my whole life. Like this is it,
Ah.
bro. Um, yeah, and it was intense, man. It started off quite slowly. Every now and again, I'd do it, not very much. I kind of didn't even spend any money on it to begin with. Like the boys would always shout, or I'd just turn up somewhere and
There'd be
someone's
some.
already got it.
Yeah.
Um, so financially, it wasn't a problem to begin with, and the more I worked, the more money I earned,
Mm.
the more money I ended up spending on it.
The
Um,
Sparkies make quite a bit of money.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, bro, yeah. Especially like I would take a lot of away work.
Ah, yeah, travel and
Yeah,
yeah,
so when you're away from home, you get paid an allowance, you get paid like overtime. It's ridiculous, bro. You get
yeah,
paid a lot of money. Um, I would just do that because then I could go home and just use for weeks
yeah,
and not, you know,
yeah.
and not
And
worry about it,
and that's a culture that like tradies and Sparkies have as well, isn't it? Like there's a lot of tradies that use,
bro. Yeah.
and not trying to be sad, but Sparkies are often
What do you mean,
like
bro?
they're a little bit special sometimes.
They're the best people on site. Yeah, I don't know. Sparkies have this bad rap on building sites because they're so messy.
Mm,
Like honestly, Sparkies just like flick cable everywhere around the place, and then they don't clean it up.
yeah,
They don't come to site with brooms. They always have to like use the builders' brooms,
yeah,
or just leave it, and then the builders have to clean it up at the end of the day.
yeah. When I was the new guy, I was always cleaning up after the Sparky. Now though, I've come across a few Sparkies that they're really good and they clean up after themselves.
The last company I worked for, we like prided ourselves on,
Been
yeah, being clean, bro.
okay.
So every day, half an hour before we'd finish,
Yeah.
we'd pack up and then we'd clean.
Mm,
You know how like builders clean the site before they go
yeah.
home? We'd taken on the same.
Oh, okay. And it's just a rep that your company wanted to
Mm,
keep and have.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that was pretty cool.
Mm. And
Yeah, man.
so you got a lot more money, using a bit more. How long did that go for?
Oh, started on and off. Like at the beginning was every couple of weeks, and
Mm,
then progressively got worse, and then it was every weekend. I try to have boundaries around it. Like I'm only going to do it every couple of weeks.
yeah.
So I did that, and that was cool. And then I'm only going to do it on weekends.
Mm,
Sweet, I'm doing it on weekends. I also had this thing. I would never own my own like utensils to
mm-hmm.
use. I would always have to go and borrow someone. So then
Yeah.
I just couldn't hide away and do it myself.
Yeah.
I had that for about a month, and then I turned up to my mate's place with my own utensils, and he was just like, "Bro, you told me you'd never have
You'd
your own," and I
never.
was like, "Ah, well," you
Yeah.
know, because it's such a selfish thing. You don't sometimes you don't want to be around people. You just want to use by yourself because you get to use more.
Yeah.
So that like I used that, bro, on and off for about 7 years. So from the age of about 21 to 28,
Yeah.
I was on and off, and then the last couple years was kind of full on, like almost daily use.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it was pretty horrendous to be honest.
Yeah.
Along that time, I had like lost my license for drink driving, and this is before my use was heavy. My use of meth was heavy, but I got this mindset of like, oh, I can't drink and drive,
Yeah.
so I'll stop drinking. I'll just use meth because
Ah,
I can
okay.
drive while I'm on meth. No one knows that I'm on it.
Yeah.
You know, if I get pulled over, I'm all good. So that kind of stopped the drinking habit,
Mm,
and I just smoked, man.
yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And you weren't living with mum anymore, or
At that time, I was,
yeah.
yeah, I was living in our sleep in a little sunroom and off the lounge
Yeah.
at my mum and my nana's house. Um, yeah, they were pretty scared. They were they were naive to what was happening. Like they knew something was up, but they didn't want to believe that it was P.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, gratefully at one stage, one of my uncles kind of told my mum
Yeah.
what I was doing, and I had an auntie who was in the mental health board in Whakatane. So she kind of dealt with people who
Yeah.
had addictions and stuff, and they kind of put a program together and a plan for me to go away and go to rehab, and I
Mm.
kind of went kicking and screaming, like didn't want to go, bro.
Yeah.
I thought I was all good, eh? Like I didn't really think I had a problem
Yeah.
still. Um, but I mean, if you're using meth every day, like there's something
Yeah.
going on, you know. Um, yeah, I think the hardest thing, bro, was like to know how much I hurt my mum.
Yeah.
You know, like she was shattered, bro. She was so scared that one, I was gonna hurt her, or two, that the police were gonna knock on the door and say that I was dead.
Mm.
You know, I mean, far out when she told me that stuff, I was the ball of mess, mate. Yeah, it was pretty difficult to hear. Just because, like, someone that's been there your whole life and you just,
Yeah.
completely,
And she's your one and only,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. And I'm hers, like,
Yeah.
only child, didn't grow up with siblings,
Mm.
like, spoiled brat, you know? Yeah, bro. But yeah, that was, yeah, 7 years, bro. 7 years using that stuff on and off. Um, and then I think I was 27
Yeah.
and I went to the rehab program, a Māori one based in Rotorua.
Yeah.
And that was mean, bro. It taught me heaps about myself. It taught me heaps about my pepeha and being a Māori, and
Mm.
um, that's how I'm designed to be.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it was phenomenal, bro. I got 90 days clean. I hadn't been 90 days clean in years.
Yeah.
Like I had learnt all these like karakia, and I had learnt I'd learned how to live again,
Yeah.
doing my washing, like washing my clothes, making my bed. That's stuff I never used to
Simple
do, bro.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, you just lose reality and you just forget how to live.
Yeah.
And yeah, 90 days clean, sober, mean as everyone was telling me to stay in Rotorua and do like a post treatment,
Yeah.
and I was just like, nah, I'm ready to go home. Like I'm fixed, like,
Yeah.
I'm all good. And yeah, went home, and about 3 days later, I was back using
Yeah.
back using meth again. It's just where my nana's house
Yeah.
was the same kind of was my dealer was on the same road.
Oh,
So I'd have
okay.
to drive past my
Pass
dealer's house every day.
in the morning, at night, coming
Yeah,
home, and
yeah. Wherever I was going, and I thought I was strong enough not to, and I kept like looking down his driveway every time I drove
see if he's
past.
home, and
Yeah, see
yeah.
who's there, see if there's any like commotion or whatever. And then yeah, 3 days later probably I went over. He just offered me a beer. We just had a beer together. I told him the journey that I had been on, and then like half an hour later, we were in the shed smoking pee again. So like heaps had changed, bro. Like in myself, but my environment hadn't,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and that's something that I realized that that's what needed to change
Mm.
for me. I needed a change of environment, um, because nothing had changed there. Like everything was the same.
Yeah.
And when I put myself back there, I just flood of feelings and thoughts and like pictures of what I used to get up to and stuff, and then you start craving it, and
Yeah.
bruh, it was over. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
And so then, so you went back home 3 days later,
Mm.
and then you clicked one day. That was like, I need to get out of.
I needed to get out of Whakatane,
Yeah.
so that was and my mate, my best mate to this day. That we probably, one of those best mates that you talk to like 3 times a year.
Yeah, but you still.
Yeah, but you like boys tight as.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have his name's Mike. He lives in Tauranga.
Yeah.
So we grew up together, went to the same high school and stuff. And then he even like moved in for a couple of weeks when he got knee surgery. Moved into my
Oh
mum and
yeah.
nan's house, and I'd go to work, and he'd stay in the shed like
Yeah.
playing PlayStation. um, but yeah, bro, we so he offered me a place to stay. So he had just bought a house in Tauranga,
Mm.
and he was renovating it. But he was working at the same time. So while he offered a place, so I moved over. Um, he would he'd go to work and stuff, and I'd like paint the inside of the
Yeah.
house or do some sparky work or just whatever needed to be done around the
Yeah.
house. I'd kind of help him out with, and that was cool, bro. I think I was there for a couple of months. It was mean. I was going to like NA meetings every now and again, but I was still using every now and again.
Okay.
Like I wasn't completely clean.
Yeah.
Um, I'd go out and I'd go hang out with people that I'd meet at meetings and like go use with them, or people that I had met in rehab,
Mm.
and I'd just carry on using with them. And then sometimes I'd even drive to Rotorua, um, use with some people that I had met in rehab
Yeah.
that were back using again. So just like the grip of addiction was just like so strong, bro.
Yeah.
But then I moved to Taupo, so I was yeah, kind of had finished there with Mike and stuff, and another mate had started a company. He had just been like or given an electrical company to run,
Yeah.
and he needed some sparkies to help him run it. So he asked if I could come down and give him a hand.
Mm.
So I moved down, bro. And yeah, it was me. It was me, cool working with him. I did my apprenticeship with him, so we like had a lot of history.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Would travel from he's from Tauranga, so we'd travel from Hamilton to Tauranga, and then my mum would pick me up from
Mm.
Tauranga and take me to Whakatane when we were apprentices, and when I had no money and no car. If
Yeah.
yeah, bro, it was so me and him had a pretty tight relationship, and he knew where I had been rehab and stuff, but he was willing to take a shot and trust that I'd
Give you a
changed. And
chance. Yeah.
yeah. So I was there for about 2 years, bro. But I was just trash. I was still using. Like I'd come to work some days, wouldn't come others,
Yeah.
um, and it got to the point where I knew I needed help, but I was too scared or I didn't know how to ask.
Yeah.
And that guy, my mate Sean, he was just like, "Bro, do you need help?" One day he just like rang me and he was like, "Do you need help?" And I was just like, "Yep, I do, bro."
Mm.
I broke down on the phone, and he gave me his cousin's number, who had been in jail for 10 plus years for manufacturing meth and stuff. And I rang him and I was just like, "Bro, I need help." And he goes, "Oh, yep, cool. Are you an addict?" And I was just like, "I think so." And he was like, "You think so or you are?" And I was like, "Well, I can't stop." And he was just like, "Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you or are you not?" And I was just like, "Oh, I am." And he goes, "Cool, I can help you then." But I had to admit it.
Had to admit it.
I had to admit that I had something wrong, bro. And man, it happened so quickly. That day, that exact day that I asked for help, my boss came and picked me up, took me back to my house, packed all my stuff in this flat that I was in,
Mm.
drove me to Auckland from Taupo, dropped me off in a rehab, Christian rehab.
Yeah.
Started, yeah, stopped using that day, just stopped. I was in a new environment, new community. No one was using around
Big
me.
city.
Yeah, big city, bro. Environment had changed.
Yeah.
Wasn't around the same people. Um, barely knew anyone in Auckland. Like, have a few cousins up here, but barely knew
Mm.
anyone. Um, and just started the journey of recovery, man. And
Yeah.
shucks, if it wasn't for that Christian organization that I first went to, shout out to Gracegate, you guys are awesome. Um, yeah, it kind of introduced me to God and a relationship with God, and
Yeah.
um, it gave me a new community of people who were like loving and
Yeah.
amazing and like just wanted the best for me and spoke so much life into me. And there was this old man, bro. I can't remember his name, but he would greet everyone at the front door of church,
Yeah.
and he'd just give you a massive hug. Like this big old man, bro, he'd just come over and he'd just give
Big
you
ol' hug.
big ass hugs. And I remember it, bro, because I've almost adapted that in my life. Like
Yeah.
I love giving people hugs, bro, because it was just that warm embrace that I hadn't felt like ever.
Yeah.
And this old man's just giving it away for free,
Yeah.
at the doors of church. And I'm like, shucks, that helped change me. So
Yeah.
yeah, why would I do that to others?
Mm. And just going back a little bit
Mm,
to you knew you needed help, but you were too scared to ask.
yeah,
That's I feel like that's something that everybody has, especially probably with guys a lot.
Mm.
is that stepping out to help. But it was your friend that made the step for you to reach out to you.
Handy, bro. Yep.
And do you feel like, I don't know, is that something you look for when you see people?
Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for him, bro, I don't think I'd be here today.
Yeah.
Like I'd be doing something, but I don't know if I'd be on this journey I'm on now.
Mm,
So if it wasn't for him, 100%. Um, I love to talk about this because it helps bring freedom for other people.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, bro. I love to see like if someone's struggling or they have addiction in their family or something like that. Um, there's so many different ways to help.
Mm,
Like there's so many different organizations that are and people think rehab's expensive.
yeah.
Like it's not in New Zealand. It's free. We get paid to go to rehab. Like I was getting $120 a week in rehab.
Oh,
And
okay.
and everything was provided.
Yeah.
All my food, all my everything, my rent. I don't need money for anything, bro. So
Mm,
I got 120. So like, if that's an excuse that it's too expensive, that's a lie.
yeah.
Um, yeah, bro. So there's heaps of things out there.
Yeah. And on the other side of it, because going into it, did you feel maybe not embarrassed, but like, was there ever any shame to admit that you needed to go, or did you
At the
like,
beginning, 100%.
yeah,
Because to go, you have to admit that there's something wrong,
mm,
and that's something wrong with you, and that's a hard place to come to.
yeah,
You know. But I mean, if your life's hard and complete, like utter turmoil, and your brain's just going nuts, like give yourself the luxury of having a break and just go
yeah,
check out rehab for a little bit. It's bro, honestly, yeah. So yeah, definitely shame and guilt and
mm,
hurt and embarrassment and
yeah,
all of that, bro. But I knew I needed something different. The way I was living wasn't okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And on the other side of it, none of those feelings matter anymore.
Nah, I talk about any of it. Like I said, bro, like I believe that we go through I believe I've been through what I've been through to help someone else.
Yeah.
And I would be robbing someone of their freedom if I don't talk about what I've been through
Mm,
and where I've been and what I've dealt with. And, like the biggest thing that I learned is that I wasn't alone. Like I thought I was the only one who went through what I went through.
yeah.
I thought I was the only one who grew up with this traumatic like childhood of my dad not being around and
Mm,
all this stuff. But the reality is, bro, like there's so many other people who have been through what I've been through or worse.
yeah.
And to come to that realization is that like, oh shucks, like people need to hear these stories to help themselves, to help people they know, to help just shift whatever dark atmosphere is around
Yeah.
them, and just to know that there's hope, man. If I
Hopefully.
can, if I can be saved, if I can stop using drugs and alcohol, like
Mm,
man, I'm sure they can too.
yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Crazy story. Um, a couple weeks back, we were at Rotorua,
Mm.
and you bumped into a high school friend.
Yeah, one of the boys, Daniel
Yeah.
Fisher. Yeah, bro.
And
He's no, no, go.
does that, you see him and you're like, does it bring back the memories of high school? Does it bring back the where you were at that time that you knew him and where you are now?
Yeah, at that time I was quite young. I was probably like 12 or 13,
Yeah.
and I was playing Bay of Plenty cricket, and like life was like all good at the time. Like
Yeah.
I was into something. I was traveling all over the North Island playing cricket for different competitions and
Yeah.
stuff. And and Dan was in our team, so like to see him just brought back all these like feelings and emotions of
Yeah.
of like what I was experiencing then, and like I guess highlighted the passion that I have for like cricket
Cricket.
and
Yeah.
just talking to him. I was like, "What are you up to now?" And he asked him if he plays cricket, and he doesn't because it takes too much time.
Yeah.
But he coaches like he's coaching a youth team
Yeah.
So a
Okay.
junior youth team, yeah. So I was just like, oh, yo. So, you know, there's a connection there. But
Mm.
it was so cool to see him, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he gave us free drinks,
Yeah.
fizzy
Fizzy
drinks.
drinks.
Yeah.
Fizzy
Yeah, that was pretty special.
drinks. Mm. And then with mum, like
Yeah,
you were
man.
saying how I don't know when she told you that thing about thing going on with you now.
Yeah. Must be nice.
Must be nice. About how she was it broke her heart
Yeah.
to see you where you're at, and then now she gets to see you, and you're working for church. You've got a wife. You're living in Auckland.
Mm.
Like you're doing so many amazing things. Do you see that change in like the way that her eyes light up when she sees
Yeah, 100%, bro. Like, the lady was scared that I was going to die, you know? Yeah. And now I think that they're just proud, eh? Like
you?
her and Nan are just super proud um, of, I guess the comeback story, eh?
Mm.
I was down and out, bro. I was only like my family cared about me, but that was probably about it, you
Yeah.
know? And yeah, to see where I'm at now was a completely different story. I think the biggest thing is like mum has peace.
Mm.
You know, she's no longer going to bed scared
Yeah.
that I'm not going to come home, or she's she told me this thing. So in rehab, they call these things like mother or father letters. So your mum or your dad will write a letter to you and tell
Yeah.
you how bad your addiction was for them,
Mm.
and they're told to do it no holds bar, be as harsh as you can. And in that letter that my mum wrote to me, she said she was afraid to go to events, functions, people's houses because she was scared to hear the stories that I've been doing.
Mm.
And like, man, when I thought of that, I was I was super aware that my addiction had started to affect my mum's life hugely.
Yeah.
You know, not only was she scared and stuff, she stayed home because she was scared of
What should hear?
what she'd hear, and it affected her like friendships and her relationships with other family members and stuff. And I was just like, shucks, man. There was definitely a lot of shame and guilt in that moment, you know, when she was reading that out to me. Yeah. So like the comparison from that to where we're at now,
Yeah.
where like I ring my mum, video chat my mum once a week. Like I never used to do that. I don't even ring her for money, you know,
Yeah.
or to get something from her. So like video chat her once a week, go down and see her every couple of months.
Mm.
Never have to ask her for money
Yeah.
anymore. Like I think just all of that stuff just shows to her that like I've grown up. I don't need to like rely on her anymore.
Yeah.
I'm a man, like I'm an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need her to do my washing anymore. Even though it's nice, bro. When I go back home, my mum's
Yeah.
like, "Bring your washing, son,"
I'll do it for you.
and I'm like, "Okay." But yeah, it's just yeah.
Mm.
The biggest thing, bro, is that my mum has peace and she can sleep and she doesn't have to worry about where I'm at or what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. And that's I guess that's something like you didn't realize for a long time how long it impacted your mum.
No, uh, it wasn't until that
That letter.
mother letter, yeah, the impact letter that she read me,
Yeah.
that I was just like, shucks, man. Yeah, because addiction's such a selfish thing when you think about it yourself,
Mm.
and yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't matter, you know, to me at the time what my mum was going through or how I affected her. I just wanted to use, and that was my goal.
Mm.
So yeah, and man, honestly, the freedom that's upon not only my life but like my mum's life and my
Yeah.
nana's life is huge, bro. So yeah, if that was the one reward from it, bro,
Yeah.
I'd be so happy. But there's so many more.
Yeah. 'Cause I think we've talked about before is you want to get into more into finding those people that have a similar story to you and
Mm,
trying to help them,
mm,
trying to give them that same hope that you have.
yeah. Yeah, eventually want to do studies and stuff and mental health and addiction.
Mhm.
Um, some other things happened in life that I feel more called to at the moment. So
Yeah,
I'm definitely gone down a different track at the moment, but 100%, bro, still passionate.
yeah,
Working at church is huge for that because like church is for the found, but it's also for the lost.
yeah.
And I was lost for so long, bro. And it was a church environment that helped save me.
Mm.
It was a community at church. It was one guy who was 30 years clean
Yeah,
that invited me, and that's what started my journey of like shucks, whatever I experienced in church that Sunday
mm.
was what I had been searching the world for.
Mm.
So like, if it wasn't for that one guy inviting me to church, like
Yeah,
man, I would have never experienced it, you know.
yeah,
So church is like for me, bro, is a huge on ramp for bringing people in,
yeah,
helping them, helping find them the community, and just knowing for myself that I'm not going to fix everyone,
yeah.
and I'm not going to fix anyone,
Mm.
but I have a duty to to invite people to that space, and there's so many people there who can help, and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think I remember you saying once, like, you found something there that filled the hole that you'd been trying to fill with
Mm.
the other stuff.
Yeah, and in Narcotics Anonymous, bro, they call it the God-shaped hole.
Yeah,
So you try to shove all this like drugs, alcohol, sex, pornography, masturbation. You try to shove all of that into this God-shaped hole, but nothing can fit that but God.
yeah,
And it was the one experience at church when I got invited with that guy. I walked in, started crying, cried the whole service. Can't remember what the sermon was about, like, but from the beginning of worship till the end of the service, I was just in tears, and not like just dribbling tears. I was like,
yeah,
like hideous snot nose,
yeah.
like, and I had obviously had no tissue, so I was like just using my sleeve
Leave.
and like in the side of my shirt. So I was a mess, bro. But what I realized in that moment is that I was having an encounter with God,
Mm.
and God was so happy for me to come home, and that He had forgiven. In that moment, I just felt the sense of He had forgiven everything I had ever done. He it's a cool dog, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, He had forgiven everything that I'd done. He was just welcoming me home. He was so stoked, bro,
Mm.
and He was just happy. And again, it was like that warm embrace. It was like something was giving me a massive hug, and
Yeah.
I just felt really warm. And yeah, I didn't know what it was at the time. I was just like, shucks, that was weird.
Yeah.
But what I knew is that I needed more of whatever that weird
Whatever that
thing
was.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just kept going to church.
Mm.
And man, I sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, shucks, I just always talk about church and like church this, church that, church this, but
Yeah.
it's it's never to like attack people of like this is where you have to be.
Yeah.
But I just know for myself when I went there, I found complete freedom
Mm.
from everything, from all my old mindsets, the
Yeah.
addiction, from all of that stuff.
And if you found it there, why couldn't someone else?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'd searched everywhere else for it.
Mm.
That was the one place I found it.
Mm.
Yeah.
All thanks to that one guy that invited you,
Simon, mate.
that one guy that reached out if you needed help,
It's crazy, eh? Starts with
one guy
one
reaching
person.
out. Mm.
Yeah,
Which can
bro.
be something tough to do as well, is to be that one guy that reaches out and
Mm.
asks if someone else needs help.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But like, yeah, totally, bro. But we all have like I would imagine, do you sometimes like, sometimes you'll just be doing whatever you're doing, working,
Yeah.
having a shower, like sitting on the toilet, watching TV, I don't know, whatever. And then you just get a random like thought of someone
Yeah.
or like a random prompting of someone. And it's just like, oh, wonder what they're
I
doing.
should see how so and so is doing, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what I think happened for the bro. Like, I was so on his mind
Mm.
that he was just like, bro, do you need help?
And that's all. That's all he needed to do.
Yeah.
Just a little message and a look. What was it? A call? A call.
Yeah, just a phone call. He didn't have to,
Mm.
you know? He could have easily just pretended like that wasn't something to think about or do,
Yeah.
but he did.
It changed your life.
Mm. Yeah, man.
Crazy. Thanks. Thank you for
Enjoy.
sharing. Mm.
What's up, bro?
Yeah.
It was such a cool, like, idea, man, and I love your heart and your passion, and I hope I hope what I said today helps someone,
Yeah.
even just one person, whatever.
If it reaches one person, that's one person that made a difference for him.
Yeah, man.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Was there anything else you wanted to
no,
dive into? Sweet, man.
that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Shaus! Thanks. Thanks for the invite, bro.
Oh, that's all good.
Honestly, this is cool, bro. This is amazing.
Okay. What pie? You got a steak
Steak
and
and
cheese?
mushroom,
Steak
bro.
and mushroom.
Yeah.
Any particular reason?
Oh, I vary between steak and cheese and steak and mushroom.
Yeah.
So I hated mushrooms when I was little.
Yeah,
Absolutely
same.
hated them, bro. And then for some reason, I love steak and mushroom pies. Now that
Now,
I'm old.
will you have like mushrooms with steak?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, bro. Yeah. Yeah, I love mushrooms now. And that's my story.
I used to hate tomatoes as a kid,
Yeah?
and then my dad fed me it with
I've already started.
Marmite
So.
cheese on toast.
Yeah. Marmite cheese on toast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you put tomatoes on it. I loved it. And for me, I
With
like
tomato.
tomatoes. Yeah.
I can't say I've done that.
It's nice. It's nice.
Um, Also eggs, bro. I hated eggs when I was little. Like the smell, the look, and now it's probably one of my favorite foods.
Really?
Yeah.
You like Jada's scrambled eggs.
Honestly, bro, those scrambled eggs are the best eggs I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know better than any restaurant I've been to, any cafe.
Yeah.
I don't know how she does it, to be honest.
She's pretty good.
Yes, sir.